First off, and I tell Stephen A. this all of the time, Giannis Antetokounmpo is the best player in the league, number one. Number two, there's some accuracies there, and here's why. Because, and I saw you, Zach, earlier talking about leadership, and Steph Curry was used as an example. Remember at the beginning of this year, Andrew Wiggins was not vaccinated. And sometimes you got to do something you never didn't want to do to get something you never had. And he chose to get vaccinated. Don't think he wasn't pressured by his teammates. And you know how he got rewarded? He was starting in this year's All-Star game for the first time in his career. That was his reward. And I want to quote the great American philosopher, Ricky Rose, about this one. When you a hustler, you do anything to win, especially when you're a part of a team dynamic, even if that means a sacrifice like getting vaccinated. When he chose not to do that, he told everybody it became a distraction, not only for the team, but for him, but for KD. James Harden led to Harden being traded, didn't give their team a true chance to be higher in the standings. So now all of a sudden, the fatigue that Stephen A. talks about will set in. You know why? Because on March 23rd, you got to scramble to try to make the playoffs. And now every game means something. And since that date, Kyrie Irving and KD were first and second in the NBA in minutes played. And one other point I want to make. There were 16 teams that made the playoffs this year. The Nets are the only one that didn't win a game. When Kyrie played with LeBron, he didn't have to be the leader. When KD went to the Warriors, he said one of the things he wanted to do was be a part of a team that played together, moved the ball, and he was happy that he didn't have to be the leader. Well, in Brooklyn, that's not the case. They will be required to show a level of leadership that they haven't had to show in their careers, and this year they clearly came up vastly short as they are eliminated in the playoffs via sweep.
I mean, a lot of interesting points, obviously, there, but I mean, the one that stood out to me, does more leadership from Kevin Durant convince Kyrie Irving to get vaccinated? I mean, is it fair to expect that? It's
impossible to speculate, but I don't know that Andrew Wiggins and Kyrie Irving can be compared in that sense in terms of how reachable they are. I mean, I'm sure the Nets tried maybe not the same methods as the Warriors did, but it's a good point. It's a fair point. I just don't know that they're comparable and how reachable they are in that particular sense.
You know, after the game the other night, Jalen, Kyrie made some comments about looking forward to helping manage the team with Kevin Durant. Zach thought those were a little tone deaf in terms of post-game comments. What do you think?
Well, the elephant in the room is that he didn't mention Steve Nash, their head coach. And I don't believe Steve Nash is going to be fired. But when he says that, it reminds people of the fact that when they joined up to play with the Nets, Kyrie suggested that they basically didn't need a coach. And when I look at the Celtics versus the Nets, the difference in the best players on the Celtics, Tatum, Brown, Smart, they allowed Ime Udoka to actually coach them and challenge them and make them a better basketball team as the season progressed. Are you guys old enough to remember when there were some idiots that felt like Tatum and Brown should be broken up? That was actually this season. And so they put it together. That was coaching. A first-year head coach in Ime Udoka. That was the difference between those two squads to me, coaching and allowing your great players to be coached.
How much of this do you hang on the coach?
The coach has to own some of it, but to me, again, Steve Nash got to coach a team in 2 years. He's been managing all these issues. I don't know that he's had an opportunity to really implement what he wants to implement. And a good point that Jalen made about Kyrie leaving Steve Nash's name out of that sort of list. He did the same thing in a monologue that he had before they traded half their roster for James Harden last season, where he started listing players that, were part of the core. And he either accidentally or on purpose left off a couple of names, and it ruffled some feathers inside the organization. And here it is happening again. I agree with Jalen. I think it's more likely than not that Steve Nash comes back next year, but that's going to be up to Joe Tsai. Ultimately, that's up to the owner. If the owner decides it has to be done, it has to be done. But I think he's coming back.
Of course, the big move during the season was the trade of James Harden to Philadelphia. It brought back a lot, but the key piece seemed to be Ben Simmons, Jalen, who never suited up for this team. What can they expect or look forward to from Simmons, seen here after his big win at Augusta earlier this month?
I always felt the best course of action for the Sixers and the Nets would be to do a James Harden and Ben Simmons deal after this season. And here's why. Ben Simmons hasn't played since last June. He said he has some mental issues, and also he's dealing with a back issue that required him to take a shot. So therefore, you do it in the offseason where you can get him into your building, introduce him to your therapist, introduce him to your coaching, get him up to your system, get him more comfortable with who he is as a man, mentally and psychologically, and then ease him into a summer, ease him into a training camp, and ease him into a season. To shotgun him into the season and then say, oh, we're going to play game 4 when they're about to get swept. I knew that wasn't going to happen. Who thought that Ben Simmons was going to get out there in the 4th game after they just lost 3 games and all of a sudden feel like he was going to be a game changer? I always thought it was unrealistic. And I will say this, I'm disappointed like everybody else to not see Ben Simmons play this year. But let's not dismiss when a player says that they have mental and psychological issues. Kevin Love came out and talked about it. DeMar DeRozan came out and talked about it. That's a real issue. For those that haven't played on a high level, imagine this. The 2 things you do when you walk into a gym, you dribble the ball or you shoot the ball. I always felt Ben Simmons was A, shooting with the incorrect hand. He finishes at the hoop with his right, but he shoots at the free throw line with his left. And then number 2, when you don't attempt shouts outside of the paint, there is something psychologically there. I hope he's able to get it together this offseason and return next year.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.